how is the brands, are they differentiating the brands? And how can travel agents, the folks in the audience, help their clients get to the right brand for their needs?
You know, it's a natural progression. What's happening in the all-inclusive spaces, there came a time where there was a sea of sameness, where basically all-inclusives looked alike, sounded alike, smelled the same, so it was very difficult to tell them apart, so they became a commodity. And as an operator, you can't commoditize your product because the only ones that win are the consumers. So you basically, the travel agents are in business of just kind of providing a service that you're not going to make much commission on, and the operators are not really making money on that commodity. So you have to set yourselves apart, and the only way setting yourself apart, introducing these great brands. For example, and I'm going to use our brand because I know it intimately. 6 years ago, we introduced a Hard Rock brand into the all-inclusive space. Some people question our sanity as far as, you know, are you guys really going to do that? Are destination weddings really going to go to a Hard Rock? It's all about rock and roll, the black colors, our families. Our mom's going to take their kids to a Hard Rock. Well, we proved them wrong. Year to date, we've run about 80% occupancy year-round. One simple reason: brand comfort, quality, and people want to have fun. And they perceive our brand as a fun brand that relates to music. So when you look at other brands, like the Nickelodeon brand that was recently introduced, there's a reason that brand's going to do well, because it has a particular demand, it has brand comfort, brand recognition. Hyatt came to the marketplace, and the ones who really set the tone were Sandals back in the day. And they continue to have a very, very strong brand that really positioned the all-inclusive in a very positive light in the market. So brands are becoming increasingly more important in this space because the space is becoming so cluttered. And to avoid that sea of sameness, you're going to continue to see new brands being introduced into the space.
Okay, Frank, do you want to
Yeah.
take that too as well?
That was well said. The only thing I would add to that, and I guess I would just endorse what Maduro was mentioning. Yeah, there's for many years, for the past 20 years ago. Yeah, there were a lot of all-inclusives that were very similar to each other, and it was very difficult for them to separate themselves from each other, with the exception of maybe the location of where that particular product was. But I think today you have, excuse me, you have a lot of separations in terms of one all-inclusive is positioning themselves as a gourmet all-inclusive. Another one might be positioning themselves as a great destination for families. Others are positioning themselves as a great destination for weddings. And going through all of the product that's out there, I think that the travel agent can sit down with the consumer and say, what is it that you want to do? Are you going with your loved one? Are you going with your family? Is this part of a group? There's all-inclusives like our Moon Palace that, it's so big, excuse me, it appeals to a lot of different segments: families, destination weddings. We have a big element at the hotel for convention services and groups. We have huge arena space, a huge meeting space at the hotel. So I think they're using different niches to separate themselves from each other, even though they still have that all-inclusive product where you still get everything's included, but yet now they're finding different niches to separate themselves from each other.
Okay, well, let's turn to the folks that distribute them, the packagers and wholesalers and travel agents. Scott, how do you distinguish brands, in the market? Because there are, so many of them, and how do you work with agents to help them understand which I know, for example, I'm constantly saying, is this a family brand? Is this a couples brand? I mean, usually it breaks down to that, or is it all people, and what's the level? Is it a luxury? Is it down to 3-4 star? I don't know. But talk a little bit about how you help to distinguish the brands.
Yeah, so we're lucky in that, our clients, the travel professionals, are pretty well traveled and educated when it comes to these things. So they're already, geared in the right direction. But for us, it's all about education. I mean, our tagline is actually "Your success is our destination," which is built for the travel agent community. So we put a lot of our resources and energy into education across lots of different fronts, from live social media interaction from the properties with people, our staff there, and tweeting and sending out Facebook and Instagram updates about what's happening at the properties, talking about what's new, to actually formal training. We're launching a TI University this year, which will help with CEU credits for the aging community to help them learn about the property. So for us, it's education, 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 and lots of resources and marketing materials for the travel agents. So we're the ones, behind the professionals trying to make sure they have all the tools necessary to know the difference. So when they talk to their clients, they can find the right property for the right client.
Okay, Steve, same question. I mean, how are you distinguishing the brands now for your customers?
Sure. One thing I would say about this product is it's an extremely complex product. An all-inclusive is not just another hotel. And so, you see some travel purveyors that treat them, hey, it's just another hotel. But if you really want to serve your customer and ensure that they're getting what they need, it does require a lot of understanding around that. So we're very focused on ensuring that we have the content in order for people, if they're shopping online, to be able to understand those differences. And we also have very much of a experience strategy with respect to our agents. And so all of our agents are employees. They all are U.S. based, and they've all been in the destinations that they sell and serve. And so it is a very different experience. And actually, one of the programs we started at Cheap Caribbean for our employees, our new hires, is we actually send our new hires down to stay at an all-inclusive when they first start, so that they have an appreciation for this. And when you talk about the complexity here, it used to be wristbands, buffets, that was it.
Beats.
Nowadays, some of these properties you go to, and you can go to an a la carte restaurant, but you can only go to an a la carte restaurant twice, and you have to reserve those restaurants. Other properties, it's go when you want, as many times as you want. Some properties charge for room service, some properties don't. So there are a lot of really important differences that your clients are going to care about, and it's really important to understand.
Fantastic. Now, Jennifer, you're on the front lines also selling. How do you distinguish the brands, and is there some confusion sometimes? Now, you also, I think, focus on certain brands really heavily, but if some client comes in and says, I want this, you're a professional, you know who it is, but how do you tell them? What do you tell them?
I think right now, because there are so many brands, you look down the corridor at Cancun or all along the Riviera Maya, there are so many. And that's actually really good for travel professionals because it's confusing. And people don't like
Confusion is success, right?
It is, and people don't like to read. Really, as much as you like content, people don't like to read. They want to get opinions. They want snapshots. That's why TripAdvisor is so popular, or hearing from a friend, over Facebook. I say go here with 2 sentences. So when they come to you, you ask key questions. And a lot of times it's not about the room. It's about what you want to experience. Because 20 years from now, people are not going to go back and remember their room. They're going to remember the experience that they had, whether it was swimming with dolphins or seeing the Sesame Street characters with their kids or having amazing wine at night and watching the sunset. So we have to ask questions about the experience, and then from that, learn which hotels can offer that. So I tell my staff and my team, find your favorites, sell what you love, and then people will actually buy that. So we do, as you mentioned, sell certain brands. We sell a lot of Palace, a lot of Hard Rock, a lot of Sandals, a lot of AM resorts. And we focus on those so that we feel there's a wide variety. Even if you look at all the AM products, you can start very high level and go way low to like the Sunscapes for families. Or with Sandals and Beaches, you can sell and differentiate between the islands and what the islands have to offer in terms of experience, or what they have to offer with restaurants. If you have somebody who's a 5-star person who says, I only want to go to a Ritz, you can introduce LeBlanc that has won all of these awards and sell that. Now, there's hundreds of them, but don't focus on hundreds of them. You have to focus on the ones that you love and that you know can provide the experience, and listen to what your clients want.
I'm kind of curious, how many travel agents do we have in the audience? Yes, most of you. And do you find it confusing? Don't be shy. If you think the brands are confusing, raise your hand. Just knowing a few, yeah. But again, we said earlier, confusion is your strength, because then guess if you're confused, your clients are really confused, let me tell you.